So we'll get started. See, till now, what were the concepts that we discussed? What were all the applications that we saw for derivatives? So if somebody asks you, tell me a few applications of derivatives that you have learned. What will you say?
Rate of change.
First one is rate. So it is used to find the rate. So for rate, what do? You calculate everything with respect to time. So dy by dt is what we do. So it is actually rate of change of any quantity. It can be a mathematical quantity, physical quantity, or something related to chemistry, anything. And here I'm taking it as mathematical quantity, or I will call it as some quantity itself. Right? Second, what is the second application that you have got?
Increasing and decreasing.
It will help us to analyze whether a given function is increasing or decreasing in its domain. So increasing or decreasing. Then what did you learn? You learned the concept of tangents and normals. So what did we do here actually?
Finding the equation, tangent equation.
So we differentiated
Increasing and decreasing function.
Okay. So this is over. Increasing and decreasing. After that, when you did tangents and normals, you differentiate the function, and then you find the slope of the function at that particular point, slope of the tangent to the curve at that particular point. Then you'll write the equation of tangent and normal. Okay. The fourth application is this one. So I will show you, but that is not what we are going to discuss today. The fourth technique is called as approximations. Means if you have certain values where you have to follow a traditional method. For example, if I ask you the square root of 36.6, what will you do? You will follow the traditional method of finding it is 6 point something. No? So the same that 6 point something can be found using the concept of differentiation also. And it is very simple. And this concept I'll discuss at the end, because I want to discuss the next important one. So one of the techniques is approximations. So approximations using the derivatives. And the last and the most important one is the concept of maxima and minima. So this is a very, very important concept. Okay, you have to practice a lot. You will definitely get 1 6-mark question from this. Okay. And the questions, if you see, all the questions will have the same approach, but you should know how to frame the equation. The advantage still here is, at least till tangents and normals or approximation is, mostly the question itself, they'll give you the function. But the challenging part about maxima and minima is you yourself have to frame the function, and to the framed function, you have to differentiate and solve the question. So that is where the challenge is. So you need to understand the concept clearly. So I suggest you all to concentrate. If there are doubts, get it clarified immediately. Okay. So take your notes, write down the heading as maxima and minima. Okay. So here I'm using the word maxima and minima. Maxima and minima of what? What do you mean by maxima? Maxima is a plural of maximum. Minima is a plural of minimum. So you're talking about maximum and minimum of what? Of the function. So maxima and minima of a function. So if a particular function is given in your hand, in the domain of that particular function, we need to find out what are all the points where the curve is attaining the maximum, what are all the points where the curve is attaining the minimum. See, if suppose you want to visualize what this maximum or minimum is, I can take some simple example, like a parabola. If I ask you what is x square is equal to 4ay, what will you say? So what is x square is equal to 4ay? So it is going to be a curve. It is going to be a parabola in the upward direction, right? It is an upward parabola with the origin as the vertex. So these points you're supposed to know, because in applications of integrals, you need to draw the graphs. Have this in your mind. So this is the graph for x square is equal to 4a. Now I'll ask certain basic questions. If I ask you what is the domain of this function, what will you say?
R.
So domain is real numbers, or you can write it as minus infinity to infinity. If suppose I ask you the question about its range, what will you say? So what is the range of this function? The graph itself is telling you, no?
0 to
Positive
plus
real
infinity.
It is
R
positive real numbers including the 0. It is r plus or what about 0? R plus means are you saying 0 is included or not? Is 0 included or not? Arun, you were
Yes, sir.
saying something.
Yes, yes, sir.
included.
Yes, sir,
So,
it's included.
so 0 to infinity. Is right? Can I write it like this? So this is going to be the range. Now, if I put a question like this, looking at the graph, you need not know anything about differentiation or nothing related to the curve. If I say you have this particular shape, tell me where is the curve attaining maxima and minima.
Infinity, maxima.
So maxima is attained only at infinity.
Minima 0.
Minima is attained at 0. Very good. So minima is attained at 0. So where are you getting these values from? You can find it from the range also. So if you're able to define the range of the function, you're able to find it. Now you told the point. Okay, so you told minima at 0. So what should be that value? Is it the x value or the y value? So should I write maxima is attained at x is equal to infinity or y is equal to infinity? What should I write?
X is equal to
Y equal to
infinity.
Y
infinity.
is equal to
No.
Y is in
No. It is maxima is attained at x is equal to
X is
infinity.
equal to 2.
So when they ask you where is maxima attained means what is the input value you're supposed to give so that the function's value is the least value. See, if I ask you what do you mean by least value means if I ask you to do it by trial and error method, if suppose I give you a curve like this, y is equal to x square, I'll give you all the options. You yourself told me the domain is real numbers. So real numbers means how many inputs are possible? Infinite numbers are possible for you to substitute in that x square. If I ask you to do all the trial and error method, you will sit and do throughout your life also you will not get the answer. Like -2 you substitute, you will say y is equal to 4. If I substitute 2, I get y is equal to 4. Right? So this is the value of x. X is equal to -2 or 2. If I substitute x is equal to -1 or 1, what will I get? I'll get y is equal to 1 or y is equal to 1. Right? So these are all the input values, these are all the output values. Like this, if you do all the permutations and combinations, what I'm trying to say is the only possibility is when you substitute the value of x is equal to 0, the value of y will be 0. So this is the least value that is possible for this particular function. So how you say is the minimum value, I'm repeating it again, listen, the minimum value is attained at x is equal to 0 and the minimum value attained is 0. And able to understand? I'm repeating it again, listen. Minimum value, if I put a question like, if I use this preposition at, you're supposed to tell me the x value. If suppose I ask you what is the minimum value, then you're supposed to tell me the y value. That is nothing but the function value. Are you able to understand this? So the answer to this question is minima is attained at x is equal to 0. And what is the minimum value? Minimum value is how much? Minimum value is obtained when you substitute x is equal to 0 in the function.
Y
0.
That is 0.
Y is equal to 0.
No, you will just say f of x is equal to 0. Okay, from now on, get used to f of x rather than y. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to convey? So this is how the questions will be. So they will ask you, where is maxima found and what is the maximum value? Generally, people get confused. So where is maximum attained means what is that? What is the value of x? What is the maximum value attained? That is the value of y. Okay. So keeping this basic concept in mind, for example, I'll go with another example. If I give you an example of x square is equal to -4, then what is the shape of this particular graph?
downward parabola.
It is a downward parabola with the origin as the vertex. And focus will be here -a, 0, a. Sorry, 0, minus a. So you know all the story, right? So 0, minus a. Now this point 0 for this curve x square is equal to 4ay, is it maxima or minimum? Is it a point of maximum or minimum?
maximum.
It is a point of maximum. Good. So this is the point of maximum. So what is the point of maxima? X is equal to 0. What is the maximum value?
0.
Maximum value is also 0. So how did you get that? When you substitute 0 in the function, whatever is the value of y that is coming out, sorry, x in the place of x, whatever is the value of y that is coming out, that is going to be the maximum value. I hope it is clear till this step. Right. Now, keeping these concepts in mind only, we are going to use the concept of differentiation to analyze how to find the maxima and minima using the derivatives. Because that is the objective of this chapter, applications of derivatives, right? So you need to apply it. How we are going to apply it is what we are going to see. So if you observe one common thing, no, throughout your calculus, you're dealing with nothing except functions. So that is why I told you in the beginning, it is very, very important chapter. Okay. Now, I'll ask you some basic questions. So you saw a curve like this. So when a curve is like this, you're saying that this is the point of minimum. Minimum, it is a singular, right? So if I take this as the point, see generally this point is called as a stationary point. Technically speaking, they will call it as stationary point. Why it is so, I'll explain it later. It's called a stationary point. Or sometimes they use the term like local maxima or local minima. So it is a point of local minimum. These are all different technical terms that are used, but everything means the same: stationary point, local minimum. Okay. Now, if I put a basic question like, if I take this point as C, if I ask you what is happening on the left of C and what is happening on the right of C, can you give me an analysis of yours?
Left side decreasing function.
Left side it is decreasing. So left
Right
side
side
it is
increasing
Right
function.
side increasing function.
increasing function. Very good. Right. But what is happening exactly at point C? It is neither decreasing nor increasing.
Neither
Right?
decreasing nor
So what do you mean by that? If you try to observe, if I try to draw any random shape in my hand, which is possible, okay, I draw any random shape that is possible. It need not be a parabola or something. I can take any curve. So if I take like this, if I ask you about this point, what will you say? Maximum. If suppose I have a curve like this, if I ask you about this point, what will you say?
Minimum.
Minimum.
It is one of the minimum points. Is this the only minimum point you have? You have one more minimum point. So within the domain, there are possibility of you having more than one minimum also. That is why we use the plural minima. Okay. But the whole question is, how do I bring the derivatives concept into this? So what is derivatives telling me? If I differentiate a function, it is telling me that I can find the slope of the tangent. That is the only point it is telling me. So how do I bring the slope of the tangent concept into this? So what exactly is happening at the point of maxima or minima graphically? So that
X is 0
why is it so?
because we draw a tangent, it will be parallel to the axis.
That's the reason. Very, very good. So if I put a coordinate system like this, if I take this as the origin, if you plot this particular thing on the graph sheet, the function on the graph sheet, if you draw a tangent at the point of maxima, or even if it is at the point of minima, you're able to understand dy by dx at this point or dy by dx at this point is what? Is 0 because it is parallel to x-axis. If you draw a tangent at that point, it is going to be parallel to x-axis. But what will happen, right? So can I conclude one thing from here? For point of maximum or minimum, for a point of maximum or minimum, what is the condition? The derivative of the function f dash of x or dy by dx or y dash of x, everything is equal to 0. You have different notations, that's it. See, sometimes we use like this also. Y1 is also used. This you will learn it in a chapter called as differential equation. Okay. So y1 can also be 0. I hope you're able to understand. Everything represents the first derivative of the function. I hope it is clear till this step. Now, will this condition f dash of x be sufficient for me to find whether that point is maximum or minimum? You logically think. Suppose I stick to the same question. I ask you y is equal to x square. I'm asking you to find the point of maximum or minimum for this. According to what we have learned till now, what will you do? You do dy by dx. So dy by dx is equal to what?
2x.
2x. So what is the condition for maximum or minimum telling me? 2x is equal to 0. Means I got the value of x to be 0. So x is equal to 0 is the stationary coordinate of x. So it's a stationary point whose x coordinate is 0. So what will be the y coordinate of it? That is also going to be 0. But unless and until, see, because this graph, you know, y is equal to x square graph, you people know. Unless you see the graph, will this condition be sufficient enough for me to tell that this point is maximum or minimum?
No, sir.
No, because I might say it is a point of maximum, you will say it is minimum. You might argue with me saying it is a point of minimum. Then how do I prove it? So one thing is clear for us, that the first derivative, this is the first derivative. The first derivative test is not sufficient enough for us to find whether the given point is maximum or minimum. So what else can I do?
We need to find if it's increasing.
Find the equation of the function.
Equation of function is known to you. No, there is the equation of function. This is already known to you. Y is equal to x square is known to you. That is the equation.
Or decreasing.
So, Sanjana, can you speak? Can you come close to the mic?
We need to find if it's increasing or decreasing at that point.
At where?
Before it reaches the point of maximum or minimum.
That's what. What is the technical name of it? We call it as left limit and
Right limit.
right limit. Of what point?
Point of maximum.
Or the point of maximum or minima. That is nothing but the stationary point. So, very good. Once you find the stationary point, you yourself told me graphically, see, you told me that this is the point of minima. So before minimum, what is happening? The function is decreasing. After minimum, the function is increasing. So similarly, if I try to draw a curve like this, okay, so this is going to be the point of maximum. What is happening before the point of maximum?
Increasing.
It is increasing and then it is decreasing. So I found this value of x according to this question, x is equal to 0. So this is a stationary point, but I don't know whether the curve is like this or like this. Let us say we don't have any knowledge about it. Okay. So what should actually the answer come out as? Y is equal to x square is an upward parabola. So what should the answer? X is equal to 0 should be
Point of minimum.
point of minimum, right? So if it has to be point of minimum, then what should happen? On the left of it, it should decrease, and the right of it should increase. So this kind of the test is what is called as first derivative test. So if you go 1 minute, I think I came forward 1 minute. Now, if you go to page number 217 in your textbook. If you go to page 217 in your textbook, then one minute, sorry, not 217. Sorry, it's not 217. If you go to page 220, there is a definition 4 that is given. So if f is a real valued function and let C be an interior point in the domain of f. See, the term domain is very important, okay? Then I can call if C is the point of local maxima, if there is a value of h such that when you check the right limit, of f dash of x, if it is decreased, if it is less than 0, when you check the left limit of f dash of x, if it is greater than 0, then that point will become the point of maximum. Similarly, if f dash of C on the left side is less than 0, on the right hand side it is greater than 0, then it will become the point of minimum. So how do I write the conditions? Tell me. This is called as the first derivative test. So what are the steps to be followed? Can we prepare an algorithm for this? Steps to be followed to verify the condition for maxima or minima at a point. So what is the first step? Differentiate y is equal to f of x. Right. After you differentiate, what do you get? Equate dy by dx to what? 0. On solving the above equation, on solving the above equation, we get, I hope you people are making note of it. So on solving the above equation, we get the point of maxima or minimum. To put it in simple terms, we call that as a stationary point. Right? This is the step after which you need to be careful. Find f dash of x for x less than, on solving the above equation, we get the point of stationary, a point of maxima or minima, stationary point, and let that point be C. Okay, let that point be C. Is this x coordinate or y coordinate?
X coordinate.
Coordinate.
Coordinate. So find f dash of x for x less than C and f dash of x for x greater than C. So when I say x less than C and x greater than C, you should do it for a very small value, or else I can put it like this also. If you can understand it like this, it will be better. At x is equal to C minus h, at x is equal to C plus h, where h is a small positive value. So when I say C minus h, what does it mean? On the left of C. C plus h means on the right of C. Okay. Then what should I get? Here can I subdivide it? For minima, what should happen? F dash of C minus should be less than 0, and f dash of C plus should be greater than 0. Similarly, this is by default, this is a hidden point. F dash of C obviously has to be 0. This I'm writing just for you to remember it. In a similar way, can you people frame the condition for maximum? For maximum, what should happen? F dash of C minus should be greater than 0, and f dash of C plus should be less than 0. Right? See, before something is increasing only, it can reach maximum. So that is how you have to remember. I hope it is clear till this step. So if it is clear, the next step is only to apply them.
Sir, can you explain the fourth point, sir?
I'm saying you find f dash of x, no? So when you
Yes,
equate
sir.
f dash of x to 0, you'll get the value of x as C. That you
Yes,
understood,
sir.
no? Okay. So x
Yes.
of C, once you get, let's say, see, I'm drawing on the left hand side. If say I'm saying this is the point C.
Okay, sir.
1 minute. So if this is the point C, I'm taking some random graph, okay? So there is a point C where it is attaining maxima. Then C minus h will be this point. Then C plus h will be this point. Okay. So how will the tangent be when I draw it at this point? Will it make an acute angle or obtuse angle with the x-axis?
Acute, sir.
Acute means it is going to be positive.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Okay.
So similarly, when it is going on this side, it is going to be negative.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
So that is why I wrote it like this.
Okay, sir. Fine.
I hope it is clear. Now using the first derivative test, we can find, we'll try to solve a particular problem. We'll look at the example 29. So example 20, sorry, yeah. Let's look at example 29. So we'll follow only two methods, okay? There are too many methods given in your textbook, which is not needed also. It will unnecessarily confuse you. So what I explained now is called as the first derivative test. So this example 29. Find all the points of local maxima, local minima of the function f given by example 29. So what is the function? F of x is equal to x cube minus 3x plus 3. Right. Now what should I do? First step, maxima or minima. First step is always f dash of x. 3x square minus 3 and equate f dash x to 0. So you will get 3 into x square minus 1 is equal to 0. Okay. So x minus 1 into x plus 1 is equal to 0. So what are the stationary points? Minus 1 or 1. But we don't know whether minus 1 is going to give me the least value or plus 1 is going to give me the least value. Okay. This is clear? Now what should I do? I need to check the left limit and right limit of whom? Of the derivative. At x is equal to minus 1. What is f dash of minus 1 minus? So I'll put this minus sign the power so that you're not confused. So f dash of minus 1, the negative of it. What is the meaning of it? So f dash of minus 1 means you tell me some value which I can take.
Minus 2.
Minus 2 is a very big value. Now I told you to take a value of h which is very close.
0.
0 is also too far. You can take minus 0.99. Minus 1.2. How will it go? So minus 1, minus 2. So you can take minus 1.01. Okay. So you need not sit and calculate. That is what we are saying. We are only concerned about the sign. We are not concerned about the value. So if suppose I take a value, so what is the f dash of x? F dash of x means you should not take this value. You should take this value. F dash of x is 3 into, oh sorry, both are same over here. Okay, 3 into x square minus 1. So 3 into, what is the value we can take? Minus 1.01 the whole square minus 1. So minus 1.01 the whole square will be how much? 1. It will definitely be greater than 1. Right, minus 1.01 square is definitely greater than 1. So will this give me a positive value or a negative value?
Positive.
Positive.
So this will give me a positive one. Right. So what can I say for f dash of minus 1 plus? So 3 into, can I take minus 0.99? So 0.99 the whole square minus 1. So this value itself is less than 1. The square of it will definitely be less than 1. So this value will be negative. So according to the condition, if f dash of x is changing from positive to negative, what point is that?
Minimum.
Check.
Maximum.
It is maximum.
Maximum, sir.
So x is equal to minus 1 will be the point of local maximum. Similarly, can you people try for plus 1? Can you try for, yeah, tell me.
Sir, for f dash of minus 1 minus, if we substitute minus 0.99 square there, then
You should not substitute minus 0.99 square because what is on the left of minus 1? It should be a value which is less than minus 1.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So similarly, what is the other stationary point that we got at x is equal to 1? So f dash of, tell me, 1 minus, that will be 3 into 1 minus means what can I take? I'll take 0.99. So 0.99 whole square minus 1 will definitely be less than 0. Similarly, f dash of 1 plus will be 3
It
into,
will be minimum.
this will be minimum. So 1.01 the whole square minus 1, this will be a positive value. Yeah, I hope you understood. You need not sit and calculate. So don't be scared of taking numbers. Take it very close so that you have an approximate guess. So it is changing from decreasing to increasing. It will be a point of minimum. X is equal to 1 is a low point of local. I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Can you people try the next one using the same first derivative test? So example 30, find all points of local maxima and local minima of the function f given by. See, generally, if a cubic equation is there, there is a possibility of you getting 2 points, 2 stationary points, because when you differentiate a third degree equation, you get second. For example, if the question is a fourth degree equation, then there will be possibility of you getting 3 stationary points. It keeps going like that. So you need to be clear with that concept also. Okay. So write it down. So this problem is a special case. I'll tell you what it is. Right.
Sir, I get both the points at x equal to 1.
Sorry, you got f dash of x is equal to 0 at x is equal to 1. Correct?
1. Yes, sir.
Sir, both are at once. That
Both
means
Sir,
are
both
one.
are at once, sir.
Both are 1.
neither point of local maximum nor a point of local minimum.
So this kind of a point is called as point of inflection. So make a note of it. So I'll explain you what that point of inflection is. Okay. So this will happen sometimes. 1 minute. So this is the case. If you go to theorem number 2, so what is it stating? Let f be a function defined on the open interval I. Suppose C is a point which belongs to I, be any point. If f has local maxima and local minima at x is equal to C, then either f dash of C is equal to 0 or f is not differentiable at C. If this is happening, then this point is called as the point of inflection. So keeping the theory part aside, what will happen is sometimes you will get f dash of C equal to 0. So because that is happening because the nature of the curve is in such a way, I'm trying to zoom and show, the nature of the curve is in such a way that when you try to draw a tangent exactly at C, it will be parallel to x-axis. But what is happening? The function is increasing and here also it is increasing. So before also it is increasing, after also it is increasing, then this kind of a point is called as point of inflection. Are you able to understand? So you would have got f dash of 1 minus also positive, f dash of 1 plus also positive. Is it right? Is that what you people got?
Yes, sir.
So I hope you are able to understand. So if you get both the side on either side of the stationary point, if you are getting the same sign of f dash of x, then that point is called as point of inflection. Similarly, what will be the other case? You can get f dash of x less than 0 and f dash of x less than 0. Then also it is called as point of inflection. Okay. So write it down. So this point is called as point of inflection. Okay. I suggest you don't read much of the theory from this particular point. You stick to the same basic. So if this is clear, I will move to the next point. So actually, this is not the condition we are going to follow throughout. This has to be known. So the first derivative test is slightly complicated because you have to keep substituting the values. Okay. But there is another test which is simpler compared to this, that is called as the second derivative test. Okay. So if you're clear, I'll proceed. So the theorem 4 is again like this. You have the same you have some function defined in the interval in its domain. Okay. Suppose that function can be differentiated twice. Let's say the function which is given to you can be differentiated twice. Then what you do to find the point of maxima or minima? So the name of this test is called as second derivative test. For finding the point of maxima or minima, there is only one method in this. That is f dash of x is equal to 0. So if y is equal to f of x is the given function. Okay, first. Then what are we supposed to do? Differentiate f dash of x and equate it to 0. By doing so, what do you get? You get a stationary point. Let's say x is equal to c. Okay. So I hope you're able to understand this till this point. Then what you're supposed to do is find f double dash of x. After this, find f double dash of c. So below this, the condition gets subdivided. If f double dash of c is greater than 0, then it is a point of minimum. Okay. If f double dash of c is less than 0, then it will be the point of maximum. So if the f double dash of c is also equal to 0, it will be the point of inflection. Are you able to understand? So
The first point is differentiate f of x is equal to 0.
Differentiate f of x and equate it to 0. So differentiate, okay, I'll write it like this if this is confusing. So differentiate f of x and equate to 0. You can take it like this. So throughout this chapter, we are going to follow only the second derivative test unless and until it is mentioned in the problem saying that you have to follow first derivative test. But till you get used to it, I suggest you to practice the first derivative test as well. Because if it comes in the exam, you should not miss to do it. Right? So if you have completed, we can do a problem based on it. Okay. So before going to new problems, what we can do is, we did previous problems. Now we'll try to do the same using the second derivative test. So example 29, what is the question? F of x is equal to x cube minus 3x plus 3. Correct? So what is f dash of x? So what is the first step? I told you to differentiate. So 3x square minus x. So if I equate f dash of x to, 3, right? 3x square minus 3. So if I equate f dash of x to 0, I get x square minus 1 is equal to 0. Then what are the points? I get x is equal to minus 1 or plus 1. Now what is f double dash of x? It is 6x, correct? Now what is f double dash of minus 1? Here you need not do minus 1 minus and 1. It is just minus 1. Means wherever you have x, substitute minus 1. So it is going to be minus 6. Similarly, f double dash of 1, it is 6 into 1, it is going to be 6. So if it is minus 6, if it is less than 0, what is the point? If f double dash of x is less than 0, is that what you got there? The first derivative test?
Sir.
Right? So there's a simpler aspect, right? Yeah, Akshay, tell me.
Sir, can we use both the methods, sir? Either this or that, sir?
It is up to you, but I suggest you go with this method because most of the problems are solved using this one. This will not create any confusion. See, I'm repeating it again. If in a problem it is clearly mentioned saying that you have to follow only first derivative test, you have to do only using that. What you can do is, you can use a second derivative test as a rough work to verify what you did is right or wrong.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So similarly, can you do the 30th one? So f of x is equal to 2x cubed minus 6x square plus 6x plus 5. So what is f dash of x? That is 6x square minus 12x plus 6. So if I equate it to 0, 6 into x square minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. So it is x minus 1 the whole square. So x will be equal to 1. What is f double dash of x? That is 12x minus 12. Now what is f double dash of 1? 12 into 1 minus 12 is 0. What did I say? If f double dash of x is also equal to 0, then that point is a point of inflection. I hope things are clear. Right? Are you able to get some clarity towards what you're supposed to do? See, as you keep applying, you will get it. So those who are not able to speak, at least respond in the chat box. Are you guys able to understand? Is there any doubt?
Yes, sir.
We understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So with this knowledge, we are ready to solve the problems in this exercise. Okay. So we will start the problems. See, one point I would suggest is, I'm telling you both the things. Graphs are not important for CBSE. Okay, graphs are not important for CBSE. With respect to differentiation and other parts, graphs are only used in integration chapter, applications of integrals. But I suggest you to practice the graphs from here itself, because it will be easy for you at that point. If you practice only for integrals, you will get stuck. So what I suggest is, do the derivatives test. Okay, accepted. Do the derivatives test. But if it is a simple graph, try to draw the graph and verify whether your answer is right or not. So in the textbook, in the example part, they have given you, but it is not expected for the exams. I mean, you need not write it in the board papers. If you just do the normal differentiation, that's enough. But it's better you practice them. Okay. So look at the 31st question. The function f of x is equal to 3 plus mod x for all values of x that belongs to R. So 3 plus mod x means, how do I define the function? Let's not look at the solution. How do I define the function in the first place? So wherever mod x comes, what is the first thing we are supposed to do?
Minus plus.
So split the function and write it. So f of x is equal to, how do I write it? See, I'll teach you from the basic, okay? If I have mod x alone, then I will write f of x is equal to x. Generally in some books they write it as x greater than or equal to 0, minus x when x is less than 0. I generally write it as x when x greater than 0, 0 when x is equal to 0, minus x when x is less than 0. So whichever is
Greater than 3, less than 3.
Now what am I supposed to do? I have 3 plus x. So what should I do? So add 3 on both the sides. So f of x will be equal to 3 plus x. What should I write? It is 3 plus x.
Greater than 3.
No.
Then minus 2.
Then x is still greater than 0 only. Guys, try to understand. When x is greater than 0, mod x will come out as x. See, you are saying x is greater than 3. When you are supposed to do is when you have something like this. I know this confusion will come.
Okay.
You're able to understand. So when you have mod of x minus 3, what you're saying is right. But when you have mod x plus 3, it is like this. I'll explain you how to draw the graph also. Okay. When x is greater than 0. When x is equal to 0, what will happen? It will be 3. When x is less than 0, how will mod x get released as? When x is less than 0, mod x is minus x.
3 minus.
So this minus x will get added to this 3. So it will be 3 minus x. I hope there is no confusion. Right. Now, if I do f dash of x, so what is f dash of x? So I can do it like this. It is 1, 0 and minus 1. Means I differentiated this separately, I differentiated this separately, I differentiated this separately. For the value x greater than 0, for the value x equal to 0, for the value x less than 0. Right. So is there anything that I can conclude from this? So if you observe here, f dash of x is independent of what? It is independent of x. In the previous problem, what did we have? When you did f dash of x, you had variables x present in it, so that when you equated it to 0, you could get the value of x. Whereas here I'm not able to get it. But what is the thing you can conclude? So here you cannot do the second derivative test. Rather, can I do the first derivative test? So f dash of x is 0 at x is equal to 0. I hope you're able to understand. See, this problem is slightly tricky. Observe. Is there anyone having a doubt with how I got this 1, 0, minus 1?
No, sir.
No,
Sir.
no, right? So f dash of x equal to 0 at x is equal to 0. What is happening on the left of 0? It is negative. So f dash of minus 1 minus, sorry, f dash of 0 minus is less than 0. That is minus 1. What is f dash of 0 plus? That is greater than 0. So what is happening on the left of 0? It is decreasing. And what is happening on the right of 0? It is increasing. So what will that point 0 be?
Minimum.
Minimum. So 0 is the point of local minimum. Is it clear? No. How to verify this graphically is if you know the graph, it will be very easy for you guys. See, can someone tell me what is the shape of the graph for y is equal to mod x?
V shapes.
It's a V-shaped graph which is passing through the origin.
Origin.
Right. So if I draw the graph for y is equal to mod x, it will be like this. This for y is equal to mod x. But what is my function given? It's given as mod of x plus 3 or 3 plus mod x, however you want you can take. So when you have mod of x plus 3, you need to shift the whole shape in the upward direction by 3 units. Are you able to understand? So this is a graph for mod x plus 3. There are two ways to say. One is mod of x plus 3. When I say mod of x plus 3, this is mod of x plus 3. Whereas when I say mod x plus 3, this is 3. So there are two ways to pronounce. So please be careful with how you do it. If suppose you don't get this idea, let's say you don't get this idea, then the function itself is telling me something. What is f of x equal to? I wrote the function, no, it is 3 plus x when x is greater than 0. It is 3 when x is equal to 0. It is 3 minus x when x is less than 0. So y is equal to 3 plus x. What graph does it represent? Y is equal to mx plus c. So it represents a straight line with the y-intercept as 3. X equal to 3. So this is the point. So 0, 3. And 3 minus x, what does it represent? Y is equal to minus mx plus 3. So slope is negative. It goes in this direction. So all the three, these are all the different approaches which you can follow. It is up to you. Whichever is comfortable for you, you can take. So what will be the equation of the shape? Y will be equal to 3 plus x. This will be y is equal to 3 minus x. Okay. So if there is any point that is confusing you, please let me know. Or else we can proceed to the next problem.
Yes, sir.
Good. Assuming that things are clear, we'll move on to the next problem. So I'm leaving the 30-second problem to you guys. You can do the second derivative test at it. Okay, can you guys try it? Use the second derivative test and prove. I'll be back in a minute. I hope you got the answers. So find the local maximum, local minimum for the function. So 3x power 4. Anyone having a problem with finding the roots of a cubic equation? So f dash of x will be, what is f of x? So f dash of x will be equal to 12x cube plus 12x square minus 24x. So f dash of x equal to 0. What can I take out? So 12x I can take out. X square plus x minus 2 equal to 0. So 12x into x plus 2 into x minus 1 equal to 0. So x equal to 0 or x equal to minus 2 or x equal to 1. Right? So we can do the second derivative test. What is f double dash of x? 36x square plus 24x minus 24. F double dash of 0 is minus 24. F double dash of minus 2. How much is it?
36.
36 into minus 4 plus 24 into minus 2 minus 24. So what are getting cancelled out? So minus how much is it?
72.
36 into 4, you know?
So 4, sir. Minus 2 whole square.
Okay, 4. 36 into 4. How much is it? How much is
72.
it? 36 2s is 72, no? You're telling the total value or 36 into
Total
4?
value, sir.
Total value is 72. 72, okay, this is greater than 0. So f double dash of 1 is what?
36.
36 plus 24, yeah, 36. This is also greater. So how many points? So this is a point of maxima, minima, and minimum. Got it? So just for you to understand, I'll show you the graph also. Siddharth, can you read the function y is equal to x? What is it?
Y is equal to 3x power 4
Okay.
plus 4x cube
Plus 4x cube
minus 12x square
minus 12x square, then
plus 12.
plus 12. The graph is very blurred. I think I should use some color. You are able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Purple line only, no, sir.
Purple line, the purple color. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so there is the point of minima. You have one minima, all other places it is increasing. So what were the critical points which we got? See.
0, 1 and minus 2.
So at 0, what is it you are attaining? 0, you are attaining a maximum value, local maximum. So at 0,
Yes,
see,
sir.
on the y-axis it is reaching maximum. At x is equal to 1, it is reaching one of the minima. At x is equal to minus 2, it was another minima. So I think you can visualize it better now. Right? So that's what we did using calculus. See, actually, when you go for higher level studies and all, this method is used for you to draw the graph. Now what we are doing is we are finding the values and then checking it with the graph. No, actually you can draw the graphs using it. Calculus is mainly used for one of the applications is that also, but you don't have it in a syllabus. Don't worry much about it. Generally, for the competitive exams, when you do for the, especially for the IITs, no, you will have these kind of questions where you will be expected to draw the graphs. Okay, so you can try the 33rd. Will you be able to try it? So once 33rd is over, I'll tell you how to do the statement problems. That is where 34th problem is starting. Is there anyone who is completely dependent on my screen? Don't write on the screen, please. Is there anyone who's completely dependent on my screen? You want me to zoom and show?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Point of inflection, sir.
If so.
Yes, sir. Both values are 1, sir.
Okay. F dash of, so you get, it's not about both values 1. See, f dash of x is equal to 0. What is the value of x you got? X is 1, no?
This is 1.
Then f double dash of 1 should be 1. Sorry, f double dash of 1 also should be 0. Means f dash of 1 should be 0 and f double dash of 1 also should be 0. Then it is a point of inflection.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope you did the second derivative test one.
Yes, sir. Point of inflection.
So one of the f of x value is 0, sir.
F of x value.
I'm sorry, sir.
No. See, I think you're getting confused. What you're supposed to do is, I'll tell you, see, by now you should have got clarity. What is the question number 33, right? It's very simple. You have the function 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 6x plus 5. You just follow f dash of x. What is f dash of x? That is 6x squared minus 12x plus 6.
Yes.
Equate f dash of x to 0. That is 6 into x squared minus 2x plus 1. If I equate it to 0, I get 6 into x minus 1 the whole square is 0. So I get x is equal to 1. So x is equal to 1 is the stationary point according to me. Now I am checking
That is
what...
point of inflection, sir.
Yeah, it is a point of inflection. If I do f double dash of x, then it will be 12x minus 12. Now I need to check what is f double dash of this point 1. So that will be 12 minus 12 if it is coming out to be 0. Means f dash of 1 is also 0. If double dash of 1 is also 0, then that point will be the point of inflection. If the point has to be maximum or minimum, it should be any value other than 0.
Okay, sir.
Okay? Yeah. So now let's do the 34th problem. See, 34th, they have not given you any function. So this is where the statement problems are starting. So our work is to find two positive numbers. So you have let the two positive numbers be x and y, whose sum is 15 and sum of whose squares is minimum. So what is given? X plus y is equal to 15, where x is greater than 0 and y is also greater than 0. So if you treat them like a point, that point belongs to the first quadrant. And what are they saying? The sum of whom the squares x square plus y square is minimum. Right? So if the function, so s is x square plus y square. But what should I do with this? This is where the tricky part starts. So will I be able to differentiate this? If suppose I'm saying I'm differentiating s dash is equal to, I'm writing it as 2x plus y into y dash. Is this right? Think about it. So if I treat
I can't get it, sir. Can you repeat it again? The S
I'm
dash,
saying,
sir.
if I treat it like an implicit function, you know what is an implicit function, right? So if you treat it like an implicit function, can I say just by differentiating on both the sides, s dash is equal to 2x plus 2y into y dash. If I equate this s dash to be equal to 0, then I'll get the condition for minimum. This is the right way which I'm following. You don't look at the solution, you people think at it.
So can I take y in terms of x?
Why do we need to do that?
So it will be easy for calculation. For everything will be in terms of x.
That is
For differentiation.
It is not for calculations. That is the procedure you're supposed to follow. But because what does the definition say? If y is a function of it, if you're able to define a function which is a function of only one variable. Here, how many variables you have? You have two variables. Okay. So what they are trying to say is, I have two positive numbers. Did they say it is integer? No, right? I have two positive numbers such that I add them, I get 15 always. So what are all the possible numbers you can think of? See, without calculus, I'll explain what is the meaning of this question. Then you will understand why calculus is saving our time. So if I say this problem is like this, x plus y is equal to 15, what are all the numbers I can think of? I can think of 1 and 14. I can think of 2 and 13. I can think of 3 and, well, it keeps on going like this. And here, one more thing is they never told us it is integer also. So I can think 1 by 2 and 14 by 2 also. Like this. Now if I square them, 1 square plus 14 square, what is it going to give me? 1 plus 196, that is 197. Right? If I square and add these two values, then I'll get 4 plus 169. What is it? 173 something. So like this, if I keep writing, I'll get many values, right? 173. For this one, what will I get? 9 plus 144.
153.
I'll get 150. Like this, if I keep writing all the values, how many such possible cases are there? There are many. Out of all those values, one of the values will be the least. We don't know what the least value is going to be. One of the values will be the least, and they're asking you to find what the least value is. They have to understand. So this is the meaning of question. So what exactly we are doing is we are taking the help of calculus to solve the same problem. Instead of doing this trial and error method, we are just taking the help of calculus. So when you need to take the help of calculus, when you need to find the condition for maxima or minima, for whichever parameter you're trying to find the maxima or minima. In this case, the sum of the squares, which I have given a variable s. For whichever parameter you're trying to find the maxima or minima, it should be a function of only one variable. Okay, then what we can do is, it should be, it is not because it is easy. It should be, because that is how the function is defined. Then y is equal to, I can take it as 15 minus x. Can I take it like this? If I take y is equal to 15 minus x and substitute it, so s will be equal to x square plus 15 minus x the whole square. So what will I get? X square plus 225 plus x square minus 30x. This is s. Can I say that s is a function of x now? So 2x square minus 30x plus 225. Now what will s dash of x be? It will be 4x minus 30. If I equate it to 0, then what is the value of x I'm getting? I'll get it as 15 by 2. So if the value of x is 15 by 2, I need to cross verify whether there is really a point of minimum or maximum. How do I verify it? I go with the second derivative test. What does s double dash of x tell me? That is 40x minus 30. Now what is s double dash of 15 by 2? That is 40 into 15 by 2 minus 30. So how much is it? 20. So 300 minus 30. It is positive. So positive means it is a point of minimum. In the question, are they asking you the point of minimum or maximum? Minimum, right? Right. So when the value of x is 15 by 2, what will be the value of y? That will also be 15 by 2. So when you substitute the value of x is equal to 15 by 2 and y is equal to 15 by 2, among the whole lot, this will give you the least value for the sum of the scores.
Can you scroll up a bit, sir?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Can you scroll up? Like,
Which one are you saying? This one, 4x, sir?
no, sir.
Oh, yeah. It is 4x minus 30 here. 4x minus 30. Still you are getting positive only?
Sir, it's only 4x, sir.
4 into x is how much?
S double dash of x, sir. So 4 only will come.
Only 4 will come.
Sorry, sir. Then 4 minus 30, then it should be maximum value, no? Oh, so I differentiated this again. Huh? Oh, s double dash of x is 4. Okay, it is positive, that's it. So I looked at this thing and got confused. Okay. So I need not do s double dash of 15 by 2 also. So s double dash of x is by default positive. Okay. So 15 by 2 and 15. I hope it is clear. Now we'll do the next one. See, observe, these are all the problems, these are all the kind of problems that they will ask. Find the shortest distance of the point 0, comma c from the parabola y is equal to x square, where c belongs to 0 to 5. So 35th question is, find the shortest distance of the point 0, comma c from the parabola y is equal to x square. So y is equal to x square is an upward parabola. So where will 0, comma c be? It can be anywhere, we don't know where it is. If I'm taking where c is greater than 0, less than 5, so c is a variable. Okay. If suppose I'm taking this point to be 0, comma c, from the 0, comma c, how many distances can you find? You can find this distance, you can find this distance, you can find this one. Like this, infinite number of distances are there, out of which there will be only one point on the curve y is equal to x square, which will give you the least distance. Okay. In general, that least distance will always be the perpendicular distance. So there are two ways to approach this problem. We will go with the NCERT method itself. So how can I consider the point on the parabola to be? I can take it as x comma x square, or I will take it as k comma k square, whatever it is. Or I will take h comma h square. So what are the distance between these 2 points? If I take this point as A and this point as B, if I ask you what is AP, if I call that as D, then what is it going to be? Distance between 2 points is square root of h minus 0 the whole square plus h square minus c the whole square. Can I say it like this? I hope it's clear. See, one important point is when distance is least. Why I am writing this is because I have a square root. Handling a square root is difficult. When distance is least, distance square is also least. So what is the value of distance square? So distance square, I will treat it as f of h. So that will give me the answer as h square plus h square minus c the whole square. Okay. So for distance square to be least, what is the condition? F dash of h should be equal to 0. So I'm going to differentiate it. 2h plus 2 into h square minus c into 2h is equal to 0. I hope it is clear. So I'm taking out 2h into 1 plus 2 into h square minus c is equal to 0. Right? So h can be equal to 0 or 2 into h square minus c can be equal to minus 1. Right? Then 2 h square minus c can be equal to minus half. Then h square can be equal to c minus half. That is 2c minus 1 by 2. Can I write it like this? Then what can be the value of h? Right? Are people able to understand what I did? Is there anyone having a doubt?
Sir, can you explain it again, sir?
From where?
The graph, sir.
From the graph. Okay. See, this is the graph for y is equal to x square. So you read the question. Find the shortest distance of the point. So there is a point 0, comma c, which is there in the two-dimensional plane. So from the point 0, comma c, you can find many distances to the parabola, because if on the parabola, how many points are there? There are infinite number of points. So you can find infinite number of distances, out of which they are saying one distance will be the least. So when is it possible? That we don't know. So I'm trying to say that there is a point h comma h square. Why is h comma h square? Because if I take the value of x as h, the value of y will be h square. I hope this point is clear at least.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So if I take this h comma h square, I'm trying to find the distance between these 2 points. Which 2 points? H comma h square and 0 comma c using the distance formula. So what is the distance formula? Root root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. That's what I did. So what important point I mentioned is whenever you have these kind of square roots, you can use this condition. When the value of the function in the square root is least, the value of the function without the square root will also be least. Means the square of that value will also be least. That's what I took. So d is this thing. This is what I want to be the least value. Means what is the value of h I need to substitute is what I need to think of. Okay. So I'm telling that d square is nothing but a function of h. Because when I say d is least, d square is also going to be least. So when that is the case, it is going to be h square minus h this thing. This whole thing is a function of x. I hope it is clear to this step. Right? Now, for this function to be the least, see hereafter it is again functions only. Till now you framed the function. So for this function to be least, I have to differentiate it and equate it to 0. When I differentiate it, derivative of h square is 2h plus derivative of h square minus c is 2 into h square minus c into, I use the chain rule, derivative of h square is 2h. Remaining thing is mathematical part. I took 2h common, 1 plus 2 into h square minus c. I solved it. I got the value of h square as 2c minus 1 and h is right. Now I'm asking what for it to be minimum, what is it I need to prove? I need to prove that f double dash of h is
greater than 0.
Greater than 0. Do it. Then f double dash of h, is it coming out to be positive or negative? Is it tough? So anyways, they're asking you find the shortest distance. They're not asking you find the point where the shortest distance is achieved. So what is the formula for distance that we have derived? Root of h square plus h square minus c the whole square. Right? Square root of, what is the value of h square? It is 2c minus 1 by 2. So 2c minus 1 by 2 plus h square is 2c minus 1 by 2 minus c the whole square. So I will get the answer as root of 2c minus 1 by 2 plus 2c minus 2c is 0. So minus half the whole square. So how much is it? So 4c minus 2 by 4. So 1 by 2 into square root of 4c minus 1 is the answer. This is the shortest distance. Okay. So this is how you solve problems based on statements. Okay. So next class I will teach you some more problems, then we can go to the exercise. So in the meanwhile, if possible, you practice all the examples so that when I explain, you will understand better. Okay, I suggest you all to practice it again. So with this, we'll stop. Just give me a minute, don't log off.